Hey guys, it's George Saldana, the founder of Texas Team 2503, Interference with Child Custody here in the state of Texas. I've been to Austin. I've talked to DAs, I've talked to lawyers, I've talked to attorneys and judges. I've talked to everybody about interference with child custody for the last 8 years. I think I'm knowledgeable in this subject, maybe not an expert, but I think I can show myself around in this area. With that being said, One Mom's Battle put out a post, and I just want to read it a little bit to you about what the type of information Tina is putting out. So, One Mom's Battle, Tina Swithin. In Texas, things are about to go from bad to worse because it's that bad. We need all hands on deck in an urgent way. If you are in Texas, your voice is desperately needed. It requires a simple email. I would ask you that you share this with 3 of your friends or family members in Texas and ask them to do the same. You're not even from Texas. Why are you getting involved with Texas politics? Let the Texas boys and girls handle the Texas legislature, Tina. We don't need you to interpret what's going on in our state. So she gives an email template. I'm writing you to urge you to vote no to Senate Bill 2794. It's obvious that Tina didn't read this. This bill poses a serious risk to child safety and unfairly targets protective parents. Tina, with that statement right there, you should know that these court orders, you're not a court, Tina, have that authority. A court does. So you saying this bill poses a serious risk to child safety, the judges are the ones who make that determination. They render orders, and they tell you what they believe is in the best interest of the child. Not Tina Swithin, not One Mom's Battle, not your books, and not your therapist. Y'all have no authority. You're not a judge. You're not even in Texas. Anyway, let's keep going. Especially survivors of domestic violence and post-separation abuse. They're all mechanisms of relief there, Tina. For a domestic violence, you have protective orders, restraining orders. You have criminal charges that can be filed. Okay? This bill does not pose a serious risk to people with domestic violence or post-separation abuse. This bill is holding parents accountable, men and women. And when you tell women, One Mom's Battle, that they can retain the child in violation of a court order when they believe that their child is in serious risk, you're going to help mothers lose their child and go to jail. The proper legal mechanism to modify a court order, Tina, is to modify it within the judicial system, the family court arena, to modify it, petition or a motion to modify. It doesn't mean I can withhold the child for safety reasons, because Tina told me that if I feel that my child is in danger, that I can withhold. Let's keep going. By removing the word non-custodial from the current statute, SB 2794 expands the definition of interference with child custody. There is no definition of interference with child custody that's being changed, Tina. There's none. In fact, 2794 only amends 2 portions of interference with child custody. It doesn't amend the whole law. 2794 amends the subsection B and subsection D. Now, if I ask you, Tina, what those are, you probably don't even know because you haven't done your research. I testified on it. At least I read the bill, and I can talk on it. Well, let me just tell you, subsection A and subsection B are both different. Subsection A goes over taking or retention of the child in violation of the court order. Subsection B talks about enticement or persuades the child to leave the other parent. So basically, if a mom or a dad calls the child on the cell phone, says, hey, leave your mom or dad's house, crawl out the window, I'll meet you in the alley, I'll meet you at the stop sign, I'll have your aunt go and pick you up, I'll have your sister go and pick you up, you can leave dad because it's an unsafe space, is a felony. But with this bill, it would minimize it to a Class C misdemeanor, up to $500. So the child is already in the possession of a parent, and 2794 goes strictly over subsection B. when a child is enticed or persuaded to leave the custody. So if the child is already in custody of the other parent, there's no serious risk because the parents are following the judicial order. If they want to modify it, they can hire an attorney, they can represent themselves pro se, and they can change it. You telling parents, mothers, that they can retain, it's going to get some mothers to lose their children. Let's keep going. By removing the word non-custodial from the current statute, there's only one part of that statute that uses the word non-custodial, Tina, and that's subsection B. And we're going to change it to parent. Do I agree with it? No, I think it needs to say person. Because there's sometimes that siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents try to entice or persuade a child to leave the custodial parent's residence under their custodial watch. This would allow the protective parent to be criminally charged for supporting their child when their child refuses to return to an abusive parent. The child isn't being returned, Tina. It's not taken or retained. That's being modified with this Senate bill. It's when they're enticed or persuaded to leave. So therefore, when their child refuses to return to an abusive parent, absolutely incorrect. This bill criminalizes protection, punishes parental intuition, and ignores the realities of trauma and fear-based responses in children. Tina, that's why we have a judicial system. I don't like my judicial system either, and I'm doing something to fix it. But it doesn't give you the right or the authority to tell parents that they can navigate around judicial orders when they feel they have parental intuition that their child is being hurt or abused. Again, there's legal mechanisms to modify a custody order. Your teachings are dangerous, Tina. You don't read. You sell books, and you don't even read these bills that you're urging people to vote no on. You're uneducated in this. And to make matters worse, you're in another state. You don't know any of our senators. You don't have any type of relationships with our senators. You don't see them like we do when we walk the halls and we visit their offices, Tina. So getting women to do your dirty deeds, Tina, you should stop. You should do more research. Hey, thanks for watching, though. And if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Tina, if you want to go on Facebook Live and talk with me, and I'll educate you one-on-one, we can do that. But I have a feeling you won't do it. You'll just call me an abuser or a narcissist, when in reality, you didn't even do your research. Peace out.